Yeah, it's rich in bubbly goodness.
Do you remember when you lost your passion for this work?
I invited another friend. I hope that's okay.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm Reina Creole, bringing you that spice to sci-fi and pop culture analysis. And welcome to Lorena's Lunch Table, where we get together and talk with some folks in the fandom and just kick back and just have a good time. Because at school you couldn't really talk to your friends too much during the day, but at lunchtime you just get to sit back, chill, talk stuff, what you're looking forward to, what you're not looking forward to. We just get together and have a good time. So speaking of good time, let me bring up my co-host, Fat Steven Seagal. How are you doing? Besides no legs. Ooh, what was that?
What?
Can you hear me? Oh, you're really loud.
I'm not really loud. You're just really loud.
Yeah, you're really loud, dude.
No, I'm not. My mic is literally 3 inches away from my mouth.
Really?
Yeah, so it's probably your volume.
Yeah.
Here comes my co-host. Oh wait, you're loud. Go back to the bathroom.
Yeah, you are. You're better now.
I'm better now. I haven't moved my head. I haven't moved my head.
I don't know who happens. Well, no, who knows? Who knows? Some gremlin in the background of Google laughing like, let me do this.
Well, yeah, it's weird because these weeks are becoming jumbled. It's already Friday. It's just, yeah.
Yeah.
Most of my week has been WandaVision, breaking down, looking for weird images. This episode didn't have a lot.
Yeah, no, dude, I said that too.
I'm not shouting. I think it was just StreamYard's having, because my audio is that still really loud? Is that better? Is that better?
That's a little better. Yeah, that's a little better.
Okay, somehow StreamYard increased my mic volume to 148%, which it shouldn't have done. So that's them, not me. So I'm sorry about that, guys.
StreamYard's pull some shenanigans. I tell you that. It's something else. But
how are you today?
I'm doing good. It's the end of the week. My classes have started back up again, so but I'm excited about my classes. My classes are actually pretty useful this semester, so it should be fun. It should be fun.
Well, I hear we got a very pleasant gentleman who's very artistic. Comes on the recommendation of Mr. Peter Smetti.
Yes.
He's already called me a grifter and related me to a crackhead, so it's going to be a great Friday show, and I'm feeling very good about my self-esteem that I've now flushed in the toilet. So should we bring him out, or should we let him laugh as he still tries to find other terminology for the word grifter?
Nah, I say we bring him up. I'll bring him up.
Okay, I'll just go grift myself some more jokes.
Folks, let's introduce artist Frankie B. Washington. How are you doing?
Oh, no, I got love for you, man. You ain't no crackhead, man.
I love the crackheads. They give all those cheap VCRs. Hail crackhead. Demonetized.
Oh, man. You think they would demonetize you for saying crackhead?
Have you seen who works for YouTube?
Hey, I'm just an artist, man. That's all. I draw.
I just draw it.
I just draw, man. That's my defense.
Yeah, I just tell people no F-bombs, S-bombs for about 10 minutes, because that seems to be the attention span that they have before it's like, oh, okay, cool, you're good to go. Unless they find something after the stream. But so far we've been pretty good.
So I can't say fudge?
What?
I can't say fudge?
You can say fudge.
Barfic nougat?
Barfic nougat?
I don't know. Fun time at Richmond Heights.
God, that face, man. It's crazy.
I know.
It's tripping me out, man.
That rigging is hilarious.
Yeah.
I freaking I love it. I love it. And he switches it up too.
Wow.
So it's pretty awesome.
Unbelievable.
Speaking of awesome, let's see, we got 10 people watching. Thank you so much.
What's up? Thank you for coming.
At the Lunch Show.
To my kaiju fam.
Why my sister sending me a text saying I saw WandaVision today?
I did. Hey, tell your sister, I did too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Frankie, I'll hook you up the video afterwards. But I have found young Hulkling in it. I have found Ant-Man in the episodes and the trailers. I have found links to Superior or 616. There's a lot of things I found.
Wow. Well, folks, I'm not going to do any spoilers because I have
Yeah,
to
that's
do.
what I mean.
No, this is this is all trailers. This is all trailers. This has already been out.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right, all
I'm
right,
just,
cool.
I'm
All
just
right.
telling people before you get the, oh my God, I haven't seen it yet in the chat. No, I'm not. No,
Yeah, but-
we're not doing spoilers. We're just
Yeah,
talking.
because that's like it's weird because I came from the time like I was raised up in the 80s, the 70s and 80s and stuff. So it's like we were used to surprise. Like you go to a movie theater, you see a trailer, and then that's it. There was none of this like giving all this information and stuff. It was like I want to go to a movie theater and be surprised by it.
We got you, Tina.
There's no spoilers. Tina, if you've seen all the trailers and the teaser trailers, that's where most of the secret stuff come in from because that's where they can put the most stuff in because they're trying to keep you interested. I will not spoil the newest episodes.
Excellent.
But at the same time, the only thing that maintained what you're saying, you grew up you went through the 80s and 90s with the comics and everything, right? So the only thing that kept the surprise with you
70 and 80s. 70 and 80s.
Well, the only thing that kept the surprise with you till now is probably the rising in prices for the tickets and popcorn.
Yes.
Jubes used to be 75 cents. Now they're $80. What is that?
I remember a movie theater was like $2. I could have $5 and see a film. Yeah. And still get treats and everything. That's right.
Wow. And I used to think $8 was a lot of money for
it is. It is.
Is that a Grievous behind you?
Yes. I just got him.
Cool.
And I'll be on and I'll be honest with you because I was on Rob's show yesterday. I'm not a big Star Wars fan. I'm not the huge Star Wars fan. I love Star Trek, but because of the movies and because of all that stuff, me and my wife now are watching like the Clone Wars. And as soon as I love robots, I'm a big robot fan. So all of a sudden I started looking at it and I said, you know what, Frank, you've been procrastinating about getting Grievous. And I love the diecast. What is this, the Elite series? And I said, if they have a diecast figure of this guy, I'm snagging it. And
you better stay away from Hot Toys then, because you'll lose all your money. Like
I'll do it. Well, see, I'll tell you right now, that's when my fandom kind of levels out because I want to make money.
Throwing it out.
Let me just say it straight up. I want to make money. I'm not a if you're one of those fans and you got those extra dollars and stuff, more power to you. But man, you've seen figures out there, thousands of dollars. You can buy some of those figures cost the same amount of a car.
I know.
I can't afford it. I'm trying to get the gigs. I'm trying to get the gigs.
I hear you.
You know what I'm saying?
Let me welcome these folks into the chat who've been hanging out and slowly coming in.
Hi.
We have Nicole, the blind beige, says, hey. I don't think Nicole can buy a hot dog. And we have Keely Chow says, hey, everybody. Well, hello, Keely.
How you doing? All right.
And hey, Tina Bojan. Thank you so much for being a supporter of my channel, Tina.
Right on.
And Theme Park Casual, they have the little Florida symbol next to their name, which indicates that they are members of my channel. So they kind of support the channel in a different way. So I'm very appreciative.
Always
of that.
Good. Love, respect.
Yes, we do. Yep. And we have Thomas Gilkey. Hey Thomas, how you doing? Glad you are here with us. Crack is whack, yes.
Thank you.
It is.
I used to go to the Dollar Theater. Ginger Ninja, I do. I remember the Dollar Theater.
Oh yeah. Even so, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you can have $10 and you can get a ton of stuff. You can see tons of movies and you can still hang out with your friends and stuff and don't go broke. And I mean, it's crazy. I mean, the way movies are now. Whew.
It's crazy. It's something else. Hey, Captain Trek, how you doing? How you doing? No spoilers for The Empire Strikes Back. Heard it had a surprise ending.
Yeah. Darth Vader is secretly Barbara Streisand. That's the secret right there.
We had a 250 theater until the shutdown.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
That would have been really cool.
There's a few of them out there. There's still a few of them out there.
Mm-hmm. None near me. I seem to live where I live. It's just like, oh yeah, you're all gonna pay $15 to come and see the movie with if it's IMAX, I'm screwed because I saw Avengers Endgame in IMAX.
Yep.
Woo.
Yeah, I saw Black Panther in IMAX. So that was amazing.
The last movie I think I saw in theaters, and don't hold it against me, is when it first came out and you still had like hope, was Force Awakens, and I still have the Stormtrooper 3D glasses. That's it.
Hey, Shanji. Steven, that's a whack Sonic character.
That's Sonic?
Oh, no, this is Ugandan Knuckles. My queen.
That's right. That's a whack. So, did you see the Sonic movie?
Loved it.
Yes.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It wasn't bad.
Yes.
The
It was.
fact that they let
it was
90s
fun.
Jim Carrey go crazy is what made it so much better. 'Cause it was like watching in living
Yeah.
color Jim Carrey
Yeah.
all over.
I
But
just thought he did Eggman perfectly.
But my theory is that they already had that design already. I have a feeling that the studio had already had 2 different designs already, and they put that first one out as a sort of tester to get people dialed up and whatever. And then they said, okay.
I don't
That's just my
think so. I
You didn't
don't
think
think so. I don't think so
Wow.
because after they did the redesign, they closed down and fired all the people from that
Really?
Vancouver animation studio.
Oh
Yeah.
wow, that's sad. That makes me feel sad. That's
But I
unfortunate.
remember when they brought out the second trailer because I
Yeah.
was in the theater watching something, and then they had the title for Sonic
Yeah.
go across the screen, and I just started groaning like, oh my god! People were just a collective groan, and then one guy was like, "No, wait! I heard they fixed it." And then
Yeah.
we saw the new trailer,
Yeah.
and people were like, "Oh my god! Thank God! Yeah, that looks like Sonic." It was just like, okay, now
So-
I really want to go see.
So
this
that
movie.
animation studio literally had the same Final Fantasy. They went through what happened with Final Fantasy. You ever
Which
hear that?
one?
You ever hear that
the
story?
movie or
The
the
movie.
or the
Yeah, the
game?
movie.
Oh, you're talking about the one that was done by Sony. You're talking about, or you talking about
Yeah.
Advent Children?
It was like the first one. The first one that
Oh,
came out. That studio went under.
the walls. Yeah,
Yeah, they
Okay,
went
I
under.
remember them. They did.
Yeah, because I had friends. I had some friends who were going down to do some work and stuff. Yeah,
Oh.
they hurt. That movie, when they did that and put it out and it failed, people lost jobs, man. It was a sad day on that one.
Oh man,
I never get happy when I see other like artisans and stuff when they lose, because I know the decision to do stuff like that. It's from the top, and then it trickles down and stuff like that. And they really, they're just there. They're doing their jobs and stuff and whatever.
Right.
And so,
Spirits
you know.
Within.
yeah, Spirits Within. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was a bad decision. And I'm
Did
not
you
even-
ever
No?
watch Advent Children though? The one they tried to do right after the
I can't-
Final Fantasy VII that had Bahamut and the children of Sephiroth and all the kids were infected.
I don't know.
It's a great movie.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about it, I never really followed Final Fantasy that much, but I did know that from what I saw from TV commercials and their video game trailers, I was like, why didn't they do that? My mindset was like, if clearly you have a fan base that loves this stuff, you should maybe stay in those lines. But instead, the creator or the people behind it felt they want to take a hard, hard left or something. So
Wow.
yeah, it happens, man.
Well, let me start with the base. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Frankie.
I was gonna say there's always a lot of chefs. People got to remember there's a lot of chefs in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Not anymore.
Speaking
Not
of
anymore.
chefs in the kitchen, I'm glad you brought that up. So here's our baseline question we ask everyone that comes on the show: what are your memories of lunchtime at school?
Oh man. Well, yeah, I loved eating hamburgers and I loved the school pizza.
What was it? Square pizza?
Was it
What?
square pizza?
Yeah.
Was it
Those are the best pizzas. Yeah. They can't make them. They're not even like, was it Papa Gino's? They're not even like Papa Gino's can't even touch those. There was something about those pizzas, and actually the fish sandwiches too. Like they had a fish sandwich. I remember it was a patty where it was like they had the cheese in the patty with the fish. And I don't know how they did it, but those were like the best things ever.
I never had one of those.
Yeah.
Cheese in the fish.
Yeah, it was like cheese in the fish. Because I remember when you bite right into it, it'd be like the whatever fish thing they put in there. And then it would be like the cheese and everything. It was like, oh, dude, how did you do this? Science.
It's just that surprise, right?
Oh, it's so good. Nah, it was good. So yeah, those are my memories.
It's funny because that square pizza always seems to come up.
But if I was gonna touch on the fan base, me and my boys, we would mostly go into the schoolyard and have our like comic geek out, like after we get the comic books. Because I remember one time, this was in middle school when I think it was during the time when the New Mutants first came out, and it's so vivid in my mind. Like I had that comic in my hand, the cover and stuff, and I remember just going back and forth with them. I was like, oh, my friends and stuff, like, oh my god, this is incredible, the New Mutants and blah 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 blah. So yeah, that's
which cover was it? Was it the one they had? It was pretty much they had the whole group on the front, and usually they had that orange character. I can't remember her name with the clawed hands. They were like she would look like half animal. Unless I'm thinking of the 90s.
Wolfbane. No. Sorry, no. You're talking about oh god, what's her name?
Yeah,
because Bob McLeod. It was when Bob McLeod was doing the art for it. So you're talking about the very first version of the New Mutants.
Some of the artwork is just amazing, and that's the thing, though. Like what they try to do now, what I've noticed is they try to make the cover art look really great, and then you get inside it, and it's like, what am I reading? And now the cover art isn't even that good. Like, do you follow Marvel at all? Did you see their post yesterday about the new celebrating the women of Marvel, and they all have the same wrestling B face? They gave Valkyrie a giant spatula, and they called it a weapon.
Well, look at what they did to Storm.
I really don't. I'll be honest. I don't follow any of that stuff because my feeling on the whole Marvel thing is it's been a long time since I've been in with comic books. I got out of it for a while because I saw because when you work on the other side of the business, you can sort of see these little things, these trends happening. And one of the trends about it is I said, look, Disney's bought Marvel. They're a corporation, and what's going to happen is that they're going to be focusing on the merch. They're going to focus on the merch, and they're going to focus on the IPs. And unfortunately, comic books are, because when I used to work in advertising, we would do mailers, boring mailers that you get in the mail and stuff. I was one of those guys that worked on those things. So the reason why you do mailers is because, when you put them out to people, it gets their attention real quick. And then you throw it away. You don't think, your mind looks at it and you go, okay. And next thing you know, you're buying a burger somewhere because you don't even need it, but you get a burger. Right. That's how comic books are being treated right now from like Marvel and maybe even DC, where the corporations are looking at, they're going, well, we got these magazines that, they have a small, in their mindset, a small fandom, and it brings X amount of money, but not to the amount of money that the films are bringing, or like T-shirts or toys. So they're treating them as mailers. So they're not going to put 100% into making mailers look really good. I mean, if you really looked at the logic of it, why would they? You're not going to sit there and look at a mailer that you get free in the mail and be like, well, I want this to be the best mailer ever. I'm going to put this in a collector bag and get it all CGC'd and all that stuff. They don't care about that stuff. They're just like, look, you read it, whatever. And most likely you're going to start seeing my theory is that they're going to close up shop and then they're going to just farm off the IPs to a bunch of other like publishers like, Boom Studios or IDW. I think that's why they're doing all this stuff.
I'm going to agree. Boom is nailing it to the point where it's upsetting any correctors, especially with that release of the hardcovers of all of the Power Rangers, the Draken series. Yeah, bro, like Boom is nailing it because they know their fans. But
the thing about it is, just my opinion. I think it's a smart move because again, if you don't care about what you're doing, then don't destroy the IP for those fans who like comic books. What you do is you let somebody else. They're still gonna make their money. It's almost like, take this theory. What's going on with Toho and Godzilla? For the longest time, Toho fought against. They were like, "Oh man, we're not gonna be holding on to Godzilla." And everyone around the world loves Godzilla, but Toho was like, "We're only gonna do a Godzilla here in Japan," and blah blah blah. All of a sudden, they loosened their grip on it, and they let IDW do their comic book series, and then from there they started doing the Godzilla stuff, and they go, oh, you know what, we can make some money, we can make some cheddar, and so the thing is that you got to loosen up on these IPs, let somebody else, a studio, a production house, or whatever, that can do a much better job than you can, and just sit back and count your money. Just be like, okay. Yeah,
I agree with that with like 100%, but at the same time, you can't give it to the people that are complaining or throwing out accusations. You got to give it to someone that has skill. You have to look at their past art. You have to literally see if their heart is in their work, because then that their heart will be passed on to the work.
Yeah,
it's called the respect of the pencil. That's
you just said it already. You said you love Boom Studios. Boom Studios already has a track record. There's a couple of other studios out there that have track records of putting out solid material. I say let them go in there. They clearly know they have strong artists, strong storytellers. Let them take the IPs and do better jobs. I like to see better jobs of the X-Men. I want to be one of those people where I can go back and be like, okay, that's kind of cool. I can get hooked into it.
Yeah, because I know what I would like to see. Because when I see the IPs not being treated very well, especially Marvel. Because granted, I haven't collected Marvel comics in a while, but I have a stash that I bought when I was like late in high school or early college that I loved, and that's the art that sticks in my head. So when I see the art of late, it's just like I don't freaking know who that is. It's like I don't know who that is. They don't care, and it's lazy. I'm like, granted, I am not artistic. I'm technical, but I know good art when I see it, and I'm just like, I don't freaking know what that is.
So then I asked the fandom this: does it matter to you if Marvel is doing Marvel comic books? Is that a very important thing? Or are you okay with the fact that someone like Boom Studio is doing Marvel comic books?
Mhm.
It
I don't care.
depends.
I don't
It
care.
depends.
Art.
The
I don't
thing
care.
is,
As long as it's good art. Oh, so don't I gotta welcome some new
Yep.
people coming in. Hey,
All right.
Dave Bob, how you doing? Says, hey, Lorena. Hey, Stephen. Hello, Frankie. And we
Uh,
have Gingerton, who says, hey, Frankie.
Oh.
And here's love from the
Woo.
Alterna fans,
Look at these
Frankie.
guys.
There's a
Look at
lot of
look at those
Alterna.
cheeks. Look at those cheeks getting purple. Woo.
Hey, Myriad Spirit Origins, we got you here. And let's see. Punisher comic book series with Jennifer Gardner as a female Punisher would sell more than New Warriors and Children of Adam. Think about it, Marvel.
no,
Yeah, that
no,
New
no,
Warriors
no,
is crap. I'm not even looking at that.
No. I'm tired of the swaps. No, I'm tired of the swaps. No, if they're gonna make anything, then you call it a female Punisher. If you're gonna go that route, you're making a multi-universe, like a multiverse story, and it's in a separate planet. I am tired.
Steven, I just think it's an allegory.
Okay, well, I'm just trying to
I
say
just think it's an allegory.
it just bothers me in general.
Would I want a female Punisher? Absolutely not. But if you're going to say hypothetically, a Punisher book with Jennifer Gardner would definitely sell more than that New Warriors crap that they
or make it a what if.
And say, morning, Fat Steven, stop collecting X-Men in the late 90s. Yeah, I think that's what happened to me too. I just stopped doing it then because it didn't.
Like I said, my whole feeling on this whole thing is that I don't care if Marvel is doing comic books anymore or DC. I'd rather them take those IPs and give it to somebody who will definitely show them the love that they deserve. I think that's going to be the logical way for them to go.
They should sublet it. They should sublet it like an apartment or a timeshare. If they don't know what to do, let someone do it that knows.
Well, if you know how Disney operates, most likely they're looking at the bottom line. Because I mean, think about it. I mean, I'm cutting to the real now as a business. How much does it cost for the mortgage for Marvel's located in New York? So let's take that, the mortgage. Unfortunately, all those people in those offices and stuff like that, that's all money. That's money. That Disney execs are sitting there rocking back and forth going, that's a lot of money. When we could just have somebody, we could cut a ton of that, it hurts me to say that. Let me just say that. This hurts me because I'm an artist and stuff like that. And I don't want to see people lose their jobs. But the other side of me, the logical side of me goes, I wouldn't want to be paying mortgage for something and being like, look, I could already have somebody else who already has like an IDW or a Boom Studio or Omni Press or whatever. They already got their shop set up. They can handle that. And then they just give me a check when they do those books and whatever. It's just that's the part where the fans are going to have to come to grips with, because I think that's going to be the path what's going to happen. I think Disney's sitting back and they just rocking going, all right. And the same thing with AT&T and DC. They're just like, okay.
Yeah. Oh, Dave Bob, I did order them. I'm probably gonna have a stream in the future where I start bagging and boarding my comics.
Plagiarism.
Excuse me?
What?
Sorry, I'm sorry, I was coughing.
Okay.
He's on some good stuff over there, man. He's on some good stuff.
Yeah, might want to pass it around and
I know. Come on now. Come on, share with the room, man.
Hey, Ruby, how you doing? A female Punisher is called a wife. Dude, that's funny.
It's true though. It's true. They punish
I had to laugh at that. That's we got 20 people in here watching, and Frankie B. Washington is here with us. So, Frankie, another cardboard cutout question, but in vein with what you're doing. So, kind of catch us up for those of us who don't know you.
All right.
How did you get into art, and how did you get into comics?
Oh man, I'll try to do the fast one. Pretty much, I started drawing as a young kid. My mom, the earliest memories I have is like my mom would go out to get groceries and stuff, come back with the big brown paper bags, and then as she's unloading the groceries and stuff, she could come here, boy. She would rip off a piece of the brown paper and let me draw, and that was it. Like that was one of my earliest memories. And then once I would do that, I remember there was a guy. I grew up in Boston in Jamaica Plain, and at the time in Jamaica Plain, in the projects where I lived, there was a guy. There was like someone, they had taken like an old school bus and converted it into a store, which was the coolest thing ever. Yeah, it was really cool. Like you go through the back door, the guy's steps and stuff. You go through the back door, and this guy had like a small spinner rack. And I remember going in, and my first comic was a Spider-Man. And I don't know what issue it was or whatever, but I remember Spider-Man. I got it. took it upstairs, started doing a classic thing, looking at it and trying to trace or whatever, get the idea. And then that kind of got me going. And then, of course, back then, there was a lot of children's TV shows back then. Early in the morning, Captain Bob for me, Alphabet Soup, all these weird cartoons and stuff.
Rocket Robin Hood.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, Rocket Robin Hood. But then for me, when it really started clicking in as I got older, I started getting into like Creature Double Feature, WOVI 56 with a channel.
I remember Creature Double Feature. I remember that.
Creature Double Feature right there. Gamma.
Oh,
so yeah, there you go. That's what I'm talking about. So once that started kicking in, and I started seeing these giant monsters and stuff like that, I was like, oh my God, I want to do that. So I'll never forget, my mom took me to Child World. I don't know if anyone remembers. There used to be a place called Child World. It was like this massive toy store. To me, in my opinion, it was much bigger than Toys R Us. It was just this place where you went, and and the commercials, and I bet you can find on YouTube too, Child World, a place where kids can get, or I don't know, or whatever, but you go there, and
it was, now that I remember, there was one in town where I lived, and it changed over to a Toys R Us.
It was massive, and I remember the first time my mom took me in there, and there was a massive spinner rack, and right in this section was like the comic books, where you get like 10 comic books, like in one bag, and it was like $5. So I remember just spinning it, and the cover of the Shogun Warriors #1 popped up. And I remember I begged Mom, I said, please, Mom, please. And she was like, all right, boy. Yeah, classic Mom, She was like, get it, boy. Here you go, boy. And so I got that, and I remember I just was blown away. First of all, it was a genre that I loved, giant robots, giant monsters. The artwork by Herb Trimpe was amazing. Doug Munich, who was the writer, did a fantastic job writing. And it was a Marvel comic. And so that was when the bug really kicked in and stuff for me. And so through art school, through high school, during the 80s and stuff, I took advantage of a lot of programs. I had a lot of people, mentors, people that genuinely cared. They actually, gave a damn. They were like, hey, this kid has this, because I had crazy dreams. I was going to be in the Air Force. I was going to be a mechanic. I was going to be an engineer. I was all this crazy stuff. But it all came back. Well, I sucked in math. But
don't worry.
Yeah, most artists, but it was like it came back to the fact that I drew and I had a very strong imagination. And a lot of my teachers saw that. And thank goodness they were always like pushing me to get into programs that were for art, and which they did. They put me into a program like later on in my high school years. It was like a half-day program. It was called ORC, Occupational Resource Center, where you do a half day of you go there, say in the morning or afternoon, and you would just specialize in something. Say if you were in broadcasting, you would go there and learn broadcasting. For me, it was illustration. So they sent me there. I did that. I also did a Saturday program at Mass Art with some of these seniors and stuff and films. So they were feeding me this kind of stuff. And then I didn't know, but my teachers thought I was so good that they put me in a program for a scholarship. And I didn't know any of this. It was like literally my last day at ORC in graduation. They said, oh, Frank, by the way, we want you to come in this room. And I was all scared. I was like, oh my God, what's going on?
What's going to happen to me?
It's never good. It's always never a good thing. I'm just building up. I'm like, oh, I didn't do nothing. The first thing coming out. And so they brought me in this room, and there was a bunch of these people just staring there, these adults and stuff. And then they looked at me and they said, well, congratulations, Mr. Washington. You're one of the, I think it was 12 scholars who got the scholarship. They said, which school you want to go to? And so that's when I started getting, schools started contacting me. And one of the schools was Joe Kubert. The Joe Kubert school contacted me, and a couple of other ones in Boston, but I was so afraid of leaving Boston. I was just like, I don't want to leave Boston to go to New Jersey. And even though I love comic books, I just was like, I don't want to go. So then I went to this other school, and it was focused more on architecture. And I was like, that's not me. And there was this last school, and it was called Butera School of Art. And I remember walking in, and they were just like hard nosed. They were just like, look, first off, we want to let you know, we're working artists. We're going to train you to develop your skills so that you can make money, a living drawing, period. If you want to be one of those artists that want to be in a gallery and you want people to look at your artwork and you want to literally, they were like, it was like boot camp. They said, we're not the place for you. So we just want you to understand that before you make any decision. And I was like, sign me up.
That sounds like SCAD, Savannah College of Art and Design.
Maybe, it might.
Went to. They said they teach you how to make money as an artist, not this. We don't do starving artist thing here.
Yeah, that's it. And then also it was funny because when I went to school, I think I had one time I went to like a museum to look at some of the great artists, and that was it. because they had to put it in their curriculum. They were like, okay, this is, if you want to go see and learn about all these other famous artists or whatever, you do it on your own time. We already fulfilled our curriculum. We're now going to get back to real work. And so the real work was I would have to stand up in front of class and do pitches. That was one of the big things we did in class, was like sitting up and pitching our ideas, because they were like, you got to get used to the fact of not being afraid to talk in front of people. You got to go out there and be confident of your work. Get used to deadlines. The fact that someone's going to come along and tell you to redo it. You may be tired, but doesn't matter. You got to get the job done. And so, once I graduated from there, and mind you, during all that time, I was actually working security. I've always worked my whole life, various different jobs. But then at that final stage, I was working in security and put myself through school. And so, I had my security job, and they loved me. They were like, well, Frank, what do you want to do? We love you. You have a great personality. We think you'd be really grateful as security. You can elevate yourself up to the next echelons or whatever. And I was like, my sergeant looked at me and he said, Frank, he said, I love you, brother. And he said, you need to follow your true heart. He said, I know you would be great in security, but I think that you would be much better as an artist. And he said, I want you to follow your heart. And on that day, I said, okay, I'm going to quit. And I said, I gotta make my move. And then that's when I decided to go freelance. It was hard. I told any artists out there, it's very hard, but I'm a very motivated, stubborn person. And I go out there, I'm a straight out hustler. My mom always stressed, she said, Frank, you never have to go up there and knock somebody over the head to take something. You go out there, use your mind, use your will, your passion, and people will, they'll see that and you'll be able to get the jobs and gigs. So, and that's what happened. The next thing I know, I start falling into different gigs.
Yeah.
Or
Theme Park Casual says great. Oh, sorry, Stephen. Theme Park Casual says great advice for upcoming artists and designers.
Yes, and writers.
We really like to get this stuff out of you guys, like with Peter and a couple of other people who are, who are artists.
And let me stress writers too, because I'm so tired. I'm so tired of hearing. I read on this. My wife writes, and the thing about it is that she's writing a few books. But the thing about it is that, and I've hung around with her with various writers, and I'm like, look, many of these writers that I see out here that are like, oh, I'm not making it, whatever. I'm like, wait a sec, hold on a second. The literary field is just like the art industry. I work in the art industry. I don't just do comic books. Comic books is one segment of a vast industry. Literary field is vast. If you choose to be a novelist, then that's a small segment of that vast industry. I know a lot of amazing writers. I work with many writers that worked as copywriters. It may not be the fun job, but they learned a lot of new skills and stuff. They worked on TV commercials and stuff like that. There's a lot of writers that were script writers. There's a lot of writers that was working in magazines. So it's, to me, I get so worked up about it, because I'm like, you're an artist. All artists. When I think of artists, I think of writers as well. And the thing about it is that as a writer, you got to push yourself. You got to get out there, and you got to be open to working on stuff that you might not be happy. I had to work on, when I was doing advertising, I worked on trucks. I did stuff for GM. I'm not a big truck guy or whatever, but I was like, I got to eat.
Paid the bills.
Yeah, that's what I had guys come to me. They say, Frank, you like to eat? Clearly you like to eat. So I was like, yeah, you like to be warm. You like to be warm, right? I was like, yeah, I want to be warm. So they said,
that's why I eat. So I can be warm.
It teaches you to be better. It teaches you to be better. And once you get better, you learn certain things and stuff. You learn the fact that, this is how business is and stuff like that. So, so it enhances your skills in your portfolio. You want to have an eclectic, rich portfolio of work. You just don't want to be having comic book pages. The first time I got into advertising, I tried to send comic book pages to an ad agency, and I heard nothing. And my friend, one of my boys, he was working at an ad agency, and I told him, and he said, what are you stupid? He said, Frank, don't send advertising. Don't go to an ad agency sending comic book pages. He said, open up a magazine, look inside the magazine, and then draw real fast what you see there, and then send that in. And that's what I did. I started going through a bunch of magazines, and at that time, we didn't have computers to the point where you could do digital coloring. It was still markers and dyes. So I just grabbed my markers, and I just started drawing super fast, and just bam, hitting a couple of colors on it, and I sent it back, and boom, I was on a gig.
Oh, hold on one second. Awesome one. You're seeing a black screen and no video?
Ooh,
that's not us. That's not us. I can still see us.
Okay. I was gonna say, I've got it running over here. I can see you just fine. Okay, just checking. Let's see. Muriosphere Origin says, yeah, I'm writing my own book series, and when that's done, I want to get several comics people together and crowdfund comics that follow my novel. Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Theme Bar Casual says, yes, more great advice. Best thing for artists is to dabble in other disciplines. Get a more well-rounded review of the
Get
world.
hungry. Get hungry.
And Ginger Ninja says, man, I'm loving this story. I loved my time at art school. It's awesome that you're succeeding at it, trying right now, and it's the hardest thing I've ever done.
That's right. 50 years I've been doing. Well, not 50 years, but 30 years. But I'm 50.
50 years of grifting.
But I look good. And I look good, don't I? Come on, I look good. Come on, man.
I know you do. I actually was
immortality.
When I was watching you on Peter's stream, I think it was last week, right?
Yeah.
Like you were actually bringing up the story that you actually had to lose a lot of weight. And I've seen older pictures of you without the dreads, and I'm like, that's not the same guy.
Yeah, 400 pounds. I was clocking up before I moved here to Rhode Island. I was clocking up over 400 pounds.
Damn.
And then what happened? It took me getting really sick. It took me really getting sick and scared, and that it got me changing a lot of my thoughts. Where I said, you know what, I need to get help. I need to get a fix on this. And what happened was, thank goodness, at the time, my girlfriend, but now my wife, she was also overweight too. She was clocking up. She was right behind me, literally. So when I was 400, she was like 350 and climbing. And what happened was,
both love to eat.
Yeah, we both love to eat. I mean, the amount of food to the day when I think about the amount of food that we ate, it's insane. I don't even know how we did it.
Were you the types that kind of like you would sit there, you'd be working or watching shows and not realizing that you're just constantly shoving in your face subconsciously because it's the gratification of that sweetness or the saltness, and you don't realize that you're poisoning yourself at the same time because you're not dealing with the actual underlying issue.
And we weren't active. And we weren't active either.
Yeah,
we were never. We were not active. Another calling card for me was we went to a friend's party, and and it was that one moment, that one precise moment where I noticed that we were the fattest people at the party. Yeah. And trust me, our friends, they love us and stuff like that. And I understand it's tough. It's tough for people. It was tough for me to talk about being overweight. So it's really hard for friends and stuff like that to kind of bring something up like that. But it is a hard truth reality. And I remember just looking at her and me at that time, and I was like, we're the fattest people here at this party.
I get it because I can kind of relate in the same way. I used to do a lot of, like, you remember back in the day when raves were under culture and all that stuff, partying, right? So you remember the terminology candy kid, right? Those kids who were the fun for pants and like all the bright colors. Well, I had that epiphany, like same way you are. Yeah, realizing, oh my God, I look like a Technicolor clown. And then I just threw out all the jewelry in the middle of winter, walked home, and just said, okay, I'm not wearing this crap no more. So I get the thing because it's hard to accept that your image is not what other people are seeing. Yeah. But at the same time, you're trying to figure out where the real friends will lie, that they'll approach you going, bro, I'm worried something's going to happen. Why are you going down this road? And it takes a lot of self-reflection, or in your case, meditation and different practices like you were describing on Peter's show, to actually start balancing not only your chi, but the mindset behind why you're punishing yourself and what the underlying problem is. Well, it takes a lot of digging.
Well, also, I'll be honest with you. I'm still a fat man. And that's something that people don't understand.
You are pretty hot and tempting. Yes, you are.
Yeah, that too. The pH, I like that. But it was like, even after, because we had the gastric surgery, and I want to tell people right there, that was a choice that we made. I'm not saying that gastric is right for everyone, but the thing about it's not a magic pill either. It was more like a reset for us, and then we had to change our lives. And we still, after 5 years later, we're both still fat people struggling with our new bodies. There's times where you understand when people are bulimic or someone who's having anorexic or something, where they look at themselves and they don't see, they keep seeing like something. Well, we go through the same thing. I just worked out this morning and stuff, and I'll look in the mirror and I'll be like, I have that feeling that somehow I'm bigger than what I truly am. And that's something that you got to imagine. We've been carrying this weight off and on. My weight fluctuated over the years. I would get into weightlifting and stuff, and back then I was horrible. I was like the classic guy. You go and lift weights, but you eat horrible. It's like you eat a bunch of red meat and stuff like that. Oh, I'm gonna be a big dude, blah, 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 blah. But you're still horrible. Your cardio sucked. My cardio sucked and stuff like that. But, now it's like, I'm much more mindful. I'm much more mindful of stuff like that. More yoga, more body weight and stuff like that. And the same thing, mental mantras and stuff like that inside the mind. But so
it's kind of like you were trying to give yourself an excuse to eat more by pretending you're doing a proper exercise routine. So in a way, you were band-aiding the actual issue, but still giving in to yourself selfish requirements in a way.
Well, it's still a struggle. Like I say, again,
It's always going to be.
It's always going to be a struggle because if you've had weight or had any kind of issue, let's be honest, any kind of issue in your life for a long time, it's been with you mentally. Even if you changed, whatever the case, even if you changed, it's almost like if somebody who, I don't know, if you're bald and all of a sudden you had hair, like you've been bald for so many years and all of a sudden you got hair, you still be looking at feeling like you're still bald or something. Well, I don't know, but your mind plays these tricks on you. It's almost like, you ever see that Simpson? Was that Simpson episode? Was it Simpsons or the Family Guy where he looked in the mirror and he saw like this big muscular body? I think it might have been Homer Simpson. He looked in the mirror and he's like, and he thought he was seeing a muscular body. I used to suffer from that, like that illusion that I wasn't as heavy as I used to be.
Well, at the same time, if you remember that one episode of American Dad where Stan kept thinking he was fat, but everyone else was seeing him as just a skeleton with skin hanging off.
Yeah,
it was the same thing. As much as you try to change yourself from the outside, you can never escape what your soul and emotional and mindset is always going to be attached to. So it's not just trying to run away from it; it's actually facing it head on, like most, like the way when you draw your heroes or you draw your monsters. Pretty much, it's a self deprecation as well as the self image fighting against each other, and some artists don't even realize that artistry that they're making is actually representations of what their inner demons are.
But that is very true, though. Once you've been like very, very heavy, and you start losing that weight, especially a drastic amount of weight, it takes a while for your mind to catch up with what's going on. For example, I know some people who've had gastric bypass surgery, and it took the food thing out of the way, but then they went to a different sort of addiction.
Well, that's it. Yeah, that's the other side of it. Like drinking. Like we have a friend. We had a friend of ours who I hadn't spoken to in a long time, and out of the blue, she was like, "Yeah, I'm in rehab," and I was like, "Whoa," you know. So we thank goodness our addiction isn't alcohol or anything. Thank goodness, but our addiction was food, and so we grapple at that. Like we treat ourselves, but we grapple with that. That's why we work out the way we do. We work out, we make sure that we're not obsessing over stuff. Like anytime we feel like we're looking at, worrying about something too much, we go, wait a second, let's talk about it. And then we sort of talk ourselves back, because you have to, because I don't want to trade in one extreme for the other. I don't want to be the anorexic guy either. I don't want to be sickly or anything. I just want to be where I'm supposed to be, healthy.
Live a fulfilling life without ending it because of selfish reasoning or because you don't fix it in time. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
we're going to look at some of your art in a minute, but a couple of things here. Ginger Ninja, Lorena, are we going to see you on Friday Night Tights? Maybe someday. I know they've got a guest backlog too, so maybe one day, I'll be on Friday Night Tights. It would certainly be an honor if I was on there.
Yeah, it would be definitely an honor if we were on there. Sorry, I'm gonna slide myself in.
Oh, nice. The hustle. I love this. The hustle slid right in. Woo! I like that one, Steve.
Yeah. Well, she's Slytherin, right? So I gotta slide in when she's Slytherin.
He slid that. He's like us. He's like us. Our us.
Oh God, I love it.
Well done.
I don't even care if I'm just the chair in the background.
Wow. I don't care. Show him some love, people.
Yeah, I will Bernie Sanders that.
Yeah.
Miriam Spears says, I have a dad bod. LOL. Okay. I need to be back into my MC body.
Oh, snap. Hey, whatever. Hey,
I hear you.
I'm trying to maintain the vehicle. I'm at that place now in my life. I'm just maintaining.
Well, what's an MC body? Is that a McChicken body?
I don't know. Is it?
I don't know.
Mac Daddy? Mac Daddy body?
It may be. Awesome. When you said you were on something big a couple of days ago, if it was me, was it regular Midnight's Edge show or Toxic Femme? Maybe you're talking about Midnight's Edge. That was
I think
cool.
You're talking the WandaVision stuff when you were talking with RMB.
Oh, yeah. That was Midnight's Edge. That was an impromptu get together. Robert Meyer Burnett. That was a complete surprise. I did not know he was coming
bastard.
on. So I was trying not to fangirl out when that happened.
So do you guys do night shows too?
No, the way it works when it comes to the lunch table, it's pretty much we do this on live shows every 12 noon Easterns here on Fridays. But it comes to Sundays, Lorena has a Welcome to Florida show where we pretty much mock and point at Florida people and the craziness that happens there.
All right.
We then either focus on sometimes the Disney parks, what's going on in Disney, because she's also a shareholder for Disney.
Yeah. Ooh, all right, Disney.
So she's been disappointed quite a while right now. So.
Well done.
And it's like being in a stockholder meeting. I'm like, I'm really trying to not start smoking and throwing darts at pictures.
Well, you get it though. You get it.
Yeah. And I totally get it. It's like when I see it and I'm just like, okay, you're talking, but at the same time, you're giving all your C-level and CEO people all this cash.
Yeah.
So it's just like, what's the explanation for that? They're kind of like, well, we don't know. It's not the company that it was.
Yeah. You know, I don't mind. When I tell people I don't mind capitalism, I just feel that there's good business and then there's horrible business.
Yes.
I want to see good business. I want to see people. I think that people can still make money doing good business. I don't know. It seems odd to me, but you can.
Because Disney used to do that. It used to be a company that people wanted to work for. You know, financially creative types wanted to work for them. Technology people like me in engineering wanted to work in Imagineering because you know, they let us put together that art with science, with engineering, and come up with creatives that hadn't been done before. And that's the atmosphere that it used to be. And then there was this switch from storytelling to merchandising. And now you've got a company now where all they want to do is just milk stuff for all it's
That's
worth.
right. I know.
Don't really want to answer to anybody, and they just want to fire the little people who keep things running because they got rid of 32,000 people. And didn't say a word about it in their financials. It
pains me. It always pains me when I hear these stories and stuff. But the other part of me goes, this is what it is. I pray that through generations maybe that we can see a change. But that I don't know if I'll live that long to see it, man. I don't know.
None of us won't. None of us
know.
Yeah, theme park casual. Yeah. Fast Steven is awesome. Steven's awesome.
He is, man. Yeah, he's a cool guy.
I try, but it's like most things, it's very hard to get to be noticed behind, unless you're like the wizard behind the curtain. You have those days where it's really good, and other days where like, who's that? Whose feet are those? Oh, don't worry about it. He's just one of those guys that makes really bad jokes. We just throw him like chicken nuggets and bone scraps every 3 hours, so he shuts up.
Hey, Fast Steven, can I ask you a question though?
You just did.
It's been bugging me. Why don't you use your real face?
Well, before I got laid off by email, I was trying to keep myself in general because I used to talk about my work, and so I don't want people coming in from my real life, like some of my real life friends, which are left. I don't tell them I do this show. Because I don't want them coming in, giving away my address, giving away my real name.
I get it.
Because last thing I want is an ex-girlfriend showing up in the chat. Because after I blast her quite a lot because like when we were talking about how you talk about like the self-destruct mechanism, right?
Yeah.
Her addiction was. I'll get into this right now. This is gonna be a little weird.
What did I start?
No, nothing like that. We met in the party scene, right? And she, when we started actually dating, become serious, she had a huge drug problem to the point where she was very mentally and physically abusive. Like I have a scar above my eye. But the thing is, she got pregnant and didn't tell me she was pregnant until about 3 months in. And during the whole time, she was still doing drugs. So the amount of drugs she was doing would have deformed her mentally handicapped, excuse the terminology, the kids, right?
Yeah.
When she finally told me, I'm like, well, what do you want to do? And she's like, well, should we keep them or not? I'm like, well, you've been doing drugs the whole time and been keeping this a secret from me. Yeah. She's like, well, then you're going to have to make the choice. So she put all the responsibility on me. We had to go do the procedure. These would have been twins. These would have been the first twins in my family line in probably over decades.
Wow.
So when we went to go do the procedure, right? I took her to the clinic. I took the whole day off work. She got it done. She was still morphined up and everything when we were taking her home on the public bus. And then she looked at me because I was actually feeling kind of emotional about it too because it still hurt. And then she yelled at me in front of a full on the bus. And she was like, you don't get to be upset. You don't know what it was like. I'm like, excuse me, this is both of us to make a life. Hello. And she started like blasting me on the cap. And then it became days and weeks of like, oh, everyone in my family hates you. My friends all hate you. I'm the only one that will love you. She kicked me out.
This is intense.
She kicked me out Christmas Day, and I spent Christmas Day in my parking garage waiting for a friend to get home, so I had somewhere to sleep that night. So when I understand the turd and depth things, like I understand, like when it bothers me, but I don't get too vocal about it.
Yeah,
I have been through that, and since then, I pretty much haven't been in a relationship where I have the ability to trust the opposite sex to the point where I'm not having flashbacks. Like it's like a nom flashback. I was never in nom, but it's the same type of emotional turmoil. How long are you going to stay with me until you start turning on me when you think I'm the reason why you're unhappy? So yeah, that's it. So I try to avoid anyone who listens to those things, trying to put pieces together. I try to keep my real face and my life stuff. But like after the show, I can show you my real face if you want. Lorena's seen it. A couple of people I trust. Right. No, bro. It's the same time. This is also not me, so it kind of throws people off. But people have also seen this image because it adds to the comedy to filter the show. And I do apologize for taking over, Lorena. I didn't mean.
Oh, not a problem. I mean, for me, I'm always curious because again, as I was telling Rob too, I usually my main thing is I'm an artist. So I'm not a YouTube personality or anything like that. Like my YouTube channel, I treat it like a portfolio, like old school. Like when I had a portfolio walking around, it's just another form. It's a tool. But the thing about it is that I am curious because sometimes as I'm working, I'll have stuff on, like I'll have a show on, listening to what's going on, and then you'll see people who don't show their faces, and I'm always like, why don't you, But you make complete sense right there, and I totally get that, man. So
at the same time, like when you just said that, like people use things to not only add to the show thought. Like the reason why fat is in capital letters because my thing is I'm not saying in general, but fat is funny. Yeah, like Gabriel Iglesias or other fat comics, because even when Drew Carey lost his fatness, he now just looks like a pasty white vagina walking around with a mic. It's not really good. But you know what I mean.
We're further into this.
That's why I waited. I'm sorry, you can keep it out later. But
what time is it? 12:52.
It's the new 52 Drew Carey.
You know what I'm scared of? I'm almost afraid that my mutant ability is like I'm the therapist. I can pull that out of people.
It's not that you're a therapist. That you're genuine, and when you smile, Frankie, you're giving eye contact even through a camera. So you're making that person feel like you're listening. And a lot of things when it comes to this is like even Lorena does it. Yeah. When she looks at the camera, she's looking at the person and answer the question. It's the eye contact and acknowledging the person is not just as a piece of sentence.
Well, you're a human
being behind the sentence. Yeah, but people online lose that sometimes.
Thank you. I mean,
hey, Frankie, somebody's saying hi to you here.
Hey, Pedro, what's going on, brother?
But for real though, I was going to say for the longest time, I didn't have myself on camera. At all because I wasn't comfortable with showing my face just because I wasn't sure if I could do this sort of medium or not. I just saw other people who seemed to do much better than I did. And then I had people encouraging me. They're like, well, you don't have to show your face if you don't want to, but we kind of really would like it if you would. So it took me, I think, no joke, I think like about 4 or 5 months. Wow. Before I actually showed my face. And hey, Pete Smetty, how you doing?
My brother.
How did you meet Pete, by the way?
Oh, I met Pete. Well, off and on, because my memory's all scattered and stuff, but it had to be like maybe 10 or 12 years ago. And again, it was one of those things back in Boston at one of the shows, one of the comic shows and stuff. And I don't know, we just met. We just kind of met, started talking, and during that time, I was doing so much work for like advertising and stuff like that, but I've always been a person who loved comics. And, again, that's that geek moment where I love it, but I also have some of the problems with some of the stuff where I see people dealing with it. And I would run into issues because there was a couple of times where I've talked to editors. I actually had a conversation with an editor from DC, and I was sitting there talking with them, but then I would listen to them and they didn't bring, in my opinion, this is my humble opinion, and I'm one of the people, I don't like throwing shade on people, but I'm just going to say that when you work in advertising and corporate, it's very cut and dry. It's almost like you're talking to your dad and mom. But then when I'm talking to this person, they didn't sound like they were grown up. And that turned me off. It'd be one of those things where, because I'm a Virgo and stuff, so my mind's like, 1 minute I'll sit there and I'll be all like a fan, and I'll like, oh, this is exciting. And all of a sudden, I'll sit there and as I'm hearing them talking, and they're talking all this weird, fluffy, clicky stuff, whatever. Yeah, clicky, like join the thing. You got to do all this jump over hoops. All of a sudden, my mind's like, yeah, but I just made a ton of money drawing, for TV, a couple of TV ads and whatever, and such and such. So why am I even talking to you? That's when the inside of my mind would be saying that. Like it would shut down any of that kind of like, why would I put myself through this? Like I love comics, but I don't know if I love it to the degree where I'm going to take this kind of crap from an individual who I don't have respect for. And that's what would happen. Like, I mean, if it was like Jack Kirby or Stan Lee or somebody like that, then yeah, sure. I'd be like, okay, sure thing, boss.
Because you're hoping he says Excelsior at the end of the sentence. Yeah, that's the main reason why. But
it's really tough. It's really tough to have like almost a level of respect for somebody who's coming at you and they're just like, they're not even talking in the sense of like
they're talking at you, not
they're talking clicky stuff and like you got to do this kind of thing, you got to jump through this hoop and whatever. And I'm like, dude, that, and immediately I was just pushed back. So my whole point is that when I met Pete wasn't talking that kind of stuff. He just was like, yeah, I love comic books. And I was like, okay, that's cool, brother. And then he was talking business. He was like, yeah, comic books and how I'm going to do these books and stuff, but how do we make money? And I'm like, yeah, because that's been a big thing that's always got to me. Like when I would do few shows and stuff, I used to do a lot more shows, but I would always hear artists almost feeling ashamed to ask for money.
Yeah,
you know,
it feels like you're grifting. It feels like you're grifting people.
Yeah, it's like a weird thing where it's almost like when people look at artists, they almost look at stuff where it's like, oh yeah, you draw this stuff, you just do it for fun. And over the time, I'm like, well, hold on a second. And I had a great teacher back when I was at Viterra who took me on that walk, that famous walk where he took me down Beacon Street and he said, Frank, look around. He said, we looked at the cheer sign. He said, who do you think did the cheer sign? And I said, I don't know. I was on my 20, I don't know. Shoulders all, hunched over. And he said, an artist. He said, see the public gardens right there? Who do you think laid that out to make it pretty and stuff for people? He said, an artist. He said, who do you think did these buildings, these brownstones? An artist, an architect. He said, those clothes on your back are done by an artist. Those cars that are being driven by were concepted by an artist. They had to draw it. He said, don't ever let anyone ever tell you that we don't bring anything to the party. We bring everything. Everything.
Maybe this is just me, because I'm in engineering and I'm in IT and I do a lot of stuff with websites and everything. When I expect for people to get paid for their art, and I'm known as being very critical, because if something doesn't look right, I'm like, no, go back and do it. So that seems foreign to me, that people would
that's a real thing.
Artists to ask to get paid for their work, and it's like, this is my art. I expect to be paid for it.
I tell anybody hours put in. Yeah, I still get people even after all these years. Like you look up there, you see I'm on LinkedIn and whatever. I have listings of people, companies I work for, recommendations from a lot of top people, and I still will get people who will contact me, and I know in my heart of heart that it's going nowhere. They're not whatever. They just don't. I don't know why you would contact a professional artist and not be coming prepared to whatever talk, finances, whatever.
Does that mean we have to pay Frankie after this? Maybe because he's giving us his vocal artistic quality right now. We get to pay him for this. I don't think I have a check for this.
Well, for the therapy session, yes.
Oh, God, it was a therapy session.
Ginger Ninja says, I hate when people call doing artwork is a hobby. For some people it is. But if I know if you are making your living at doing it, like that's what you're known for doing, I expect to see a rate. I know there's some artists that have contacted, and I'm like, okay, I like your stuff, whatsoever. I need you to send me a rate sheet, and it's almost kind of like they're kind of like backpedaling on doing that. I'm like, what? I need to know what I'm getting. I need to know what it is that you're charging for.
Many artists, I've learned that a lot of these, artists that aren't familiar, they don't know how to negotiate. They don't even the ability to even negotiate. Like there's times when I've worked at companies where I'll toss out a rate. I'll toss out my rate, comfortable rate, what makes me happy. And I've had people go, okay, well, that's a little lower than what we were expecting. We'll offer you more. Some companies are like that. And I go, okay, sure thing, boss. But you at least get to the point where you negotiate. Sometimes I don't even get that. And I go, okay, fine. But I'm at the point now where I kind of get the feeling. I know if somebody's willing to step through the door.
Also, somebody's not. I get still paid in chicken nuggets, and I'm still waiting for last year's chicken nuggets because all she sent was I owe you. That's it. It was pretty much just empty dipping sauce packets from McDonald's. She doesn't even give me one order.
No, I sent you Chick-fil-A Polynesian.
You did not. There's no Chick-fil-A's in Canada that we can get to. How many Fat Stevens are you sending stuff to?
It's even just like Chick-fil-A nuggets.
It sounds like you're BSing me.
These nuggets.
Of course I am.
Dang, it's new. Lunchtime nuggets.
Then Frankie, my second question is: if you do artworks and commissions, how much would it be to get let's say if someone wanted to get let's say Fat Steven art, like something that I wanted to put on a shirt and make a logo. Would you, when you do those type of works that people are eventually going to use to sell for their own merchandise, do you give away the copyright for it as well? So
I don't mind work for hire. Especially I understand that I've gone through all that stuff over the years and stuff, but I most likely will charge you. I'll hit you with a rate that's comparable.
How many chicken nuggets will it cost me?
Ooh, it's gonna cost you a few chicken nuggets, possibly a turkey too. And a
Oh,
ham
turkey.
sandwich.
Okay, I got this turkey. I got a turkey defrosting in my pool right now.
So throw some French fries on there and stuff, and a little bit of Sundays. Slide those in there.
Yeah. We'll just give them the chlorine turkey.
Yeah, keep them coming. Keep them coming.
So, Frankie, to kind of wrap up here, what current projects do you have going on that you'd like to tell people about? Do you want me to bring up the
Well, here
game?
I actually have it right here. Monstrosity. I actually got the work. I just wrapped it up, but I'm doing some work for some images. I actually wrapped it up today and sent it off, and they gave me the okay to say stuff about it. But I guess they're doing a robot edition of this. So
that's going to be your prime edition.
Yeah, it's actually fun. I can't wait to get the time to play the game. It's actually a fun game.
Well, folks, I have the link to this game in the description box, along with the link for all of Frankie's social sites and everything, so you can get
still working on some more of these. This is another thing that I'm doing, and I'm actually working on a comic book again. I get contacted by various people, novelists. Sometimes novelists contact me, and this particular novelist contacted me, and he said, "Hey, Frank, I looked at your artwork. I love your artwork, but I don't know if you're going to be right for this." And I said, "Okay, well, tell me a little bit more." And he said, "Well, it's a laid back human story." And I said, "Well," I said, "I'll be honest with you." I said, "I love a challenge." So he said, "Okay, I'll pay for 3 pages. You do the 3 pages and we'll see what happens." He loved it. And he said, "Okay." So I'm wrapping that up right now. And then this is a gig that not a gig, but it's my own personal little project. I think a lot of people have been noticing these online, but I call it the Great Godzilla Gathering. And it started off with this piece right here. Well, people can see it.
God damn.
Here, I'll blow you up. Hold on a second.
Yeah, there you go. It started with this piece where the idea.
Oh, wow.
Wait, is that Matthew Broderick's Godzilla too?
No. What it is that it's G14, because I love G14, but I also wanted to show the Godzillas that I loved growing up. And so what you have is G14 coming out of a portal, entering the world of the Marvel Comics Godzilla. And he's going up, and he's right in the scene where he's facing Red Ronin and Yetra guards in the background. And you got a shield helicarrier on the top.
I see that.
Oh,
so then
that's pretty cool.
That was one, and then here's the other. It's still going. This is still going. So you can see it on my YouTube page as well, the drawing. This was the next one, the Hanna-Barbera world. So you got those Godzillas, the Marvel and the G14, legendary. And they're meeting up with the Hanna-Barbera Godzilla, with Godzuki.
You could say that Godzilla is choking that chicken.
Well, yes. As a matter of fact, yes.
Oh, Lord, Steve.
All right. Just go with it. And then this is the final one. I haven't finished this, but this is I don't know if anyone remembers the Shogun Warrior Godzilla, the toy.
Mm-hmm.
So I still got to work on this one, but there you go. You got Mazinger, he's shooting a blast. Godzuki's avoiding the blast, and then you got the other Godzillas. Let me see how you see it. But the other Godzillas are coming out the portal. So
how long until Godzilla crushes Barney the dinosaur?
I don't see. It's weird, but I'm glad you gave me that idea, because somebody else mentioned Devil Dinosaur, and I'm trying to find a way, because the idea is that they're traveling through dimensions to other Godzilla worlds. So they're Godzillas that are really close to me, but I'm gonna try to find a way. So I may toss them in there, man. You never know.
Probably.
Thanks for the idea.
You can also try to see what about the licensing with Denver the Last Dinosaur, and see whether or not you can Godzilla can train Denver into being a more powerful fighter.
Maybe.
Well, let me ask this: are you interested in seeing the Godzilla versus Kong movie that's coming out?
No, I'm not interested. Yeah, come on. Yes,
I had to ask, because I'm kind of like, I want to, but not really. It's kind of like,
speaking as an old boy from the times when they had guys in suits and stuff like that. I'm just giddy the fact that people are talking about Godzilla, talking about the genre that I love so much. I'm just giddy about that. So when they're not talking about it, that's when I'm sad. But the fact that everyone here in America and all over is talking about Godzilla versus Kong, I'm just gonna sit back and enjoy the moment.
Go for it.
Because I love Godzilla. That was one of my favorite ones to watch. And they're putting them with Kong. And that's not the matchup I want to see. But
they did it before.
I want to see Godzilla. Yeah, I didn't see that one.
But that's what I mean. I mean, it's like, for me, sometimes I have to take a step back, because I go, I see people get angry at newer people who come into the certain, properties or fandoms and stuff, and they go, "Oh, why don't you like it?" I'm like, "Look, no. We had our moment, you know, and I still love the stuff that I grew up watching, but I'm open to the fact to see the stuff that's coming out now, the new stuff that I made, you know, Evangelion. I remember some people going off on, they're like, well, those aren't super robots, those are Evangelion. I'm like, dude, Evangelion is just part of a story, a journey from what I remember it from Tetsujin 28.
Right. So, I'm sorry, I'm laughing at that theme park casual because that was freaking hysterical. In the episode of South Park where they had Streisand versus Beck Streisand.
Oh,
they just ripped off a Godzilla. Oh my gosh.
Nice.
That one was so funny.
Nice.
I was just in tears. But folks, this is Frankie B. Washington with us today, and this is his YouTube channel. So please do subscribe to him on YouTube.
Yeah, please.
I've got his links in the description box. And to take us out, Frankie, anything else you want to make us aware of that you have coming out?
Everything, again, the life of the commercial illustrator is just last minute. So I can turn next week, and all of a sudden I got a ton of different projects. So a lot of stuff planned for this year. I wish I could tell. Actually, I will say this. I did work on an Ultraman sketch card set.
Damn.
Really?
Last year. It was supposed to come out last year. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that it might come out this year. I can't show anything. I can't show you nothing about it. Unfortunately. That's what I mean. I worked on it. Yeah, Ultraman. It was fun. Actually, yeah, let me see. I have some sketch card stuff. This is the one I have online that I have. A sketch card. You see this one?
Yeah.
This was a guy. This was a person who had contacted me, and I can't even remember who this guy was, but he said, "Hey man, I love your artwork. I know you did sketch cards." He said, "What if I do a trade with you?" He said, "I'll build you a booklet, right? A sketch card booklet. All you have to do is do a commission for me." So he built me 2 booklets. So I actually have 2 of. I have one for this one. It has my name on it, and then I have the Shogun Warrior one, which I haven't started yet.
Hey Makani, how you doing? He says, wow. Makani, just because I have to blow him up. Makani actually did the artwork you see up here in the top right.
Oh,
the
that's
little icon that's up there.
Yeah.
That's his artwork that he did.
And many artists, and I'm telling you, a lot of these artists out here, I'm telling you right now, use the internet for what it's supposed to be, for the tools. Put your stuff out there. Don't be afraid to show your stuff, because the thing about it, you want to get as many eyes on it to see it. You do not know who could be watching, who could be seeing it, and who may be like, hey, look, I could use that. You know, I've gotten more work from people from across the United States and abroad just because I just post my stuff. You know, so definitely do that. Use the internet for what it's. I mean, I understand you want to play around and joke, but if you're really thinking about business and a career move, then you know, you got to be serious about business if you want to make a career out of it. Now, if you just treat it as a hobby, then you do what you got to do.
Thank you. Cool. Well, thank you so much. Makani says absolutely. Yeah.
I have one thing to say before we close out, though, if you can blow me up.
Oh, hang on. Okay, go for it.
I'd like to thank Frankie for coming here. I'd just like to thank everyone in the chat. And guess what? It's only $5. Just give me $5. Just give me $5. I just need $5. Give me the $5. Just give me $5. It's only $5. Just $5. Come on, give me $5. It's better than nothing.
I got nothing for this. I got nothing.
I am a hot chick with laryngitis. Just give me $5.
This is the epitome. This is the epitome of my career. I reached the. This is it. This is it.
Folks, thank you so much for joining us, and
thank you guys. Thank you so much.
On with us, folks. Remember today at 2:00 Eastern, Culture Casino has his flight show, so definitely check him out. Also at 3 Eastern is Paulie's show, Latino Slant. So Paulie, if you're still in the chat, yeah, definitely go check out Paulie's chat at 3. And then, of course, at 5 p.m. is Friday Night Tights over on Nerdrotic channel. Definitely check that out. That's where I call it the Nerd Collective. Just goes because literally there's like 5,000 to 6,000 people watching that show.
There's also one more tonight. After is the after party. If you're not sticking around for the full Friday Night Tights, over on Boards' channel, he is doing his Mario Kart stream where it's pretty much people swearing and making fun of a guy with a crappy camera.
Yes, definitely,
Awesome.
definitely support the boy Ords. Definitely do that. Okay, folks, aroused and appalled at the same time. Grace Jingle.
Only $5.
Like I said.
$5.
Wow.
All right, folks.
I'm
Thanks
happy.
so much for
Fantastic.
joining us.
Thanks for coming.
Take
Thanks for
care.
coming.
Thank you.
It's only $5.